I think we may be live now.
3, 2, 1, hold.
3, 2, 1. Are we live? Is it working? Okay. So, hi everyone. Sorry for the delay. We were having some technical difficulties that were related to a few different things. One, a power failure where Giles is. Two, general technical incompetence. So I couldn't log into my Facebook, things like that. It's kind of embarrassing. But we are here, and we are to announce this year's GISH. We're calling it Change a Life, but it's really misnamed because we're going to try to change a few hundred lives. And Giles, do you want to? People were guessing where you were traveling from the airport. And I think a lot of people got it right because you actually gave some pretty good clues. But would you like to tell us where you are right now and what you're doing there?
Well, good evening from Kigali in Rwanda. I'm here. I must admit, I've been traveling so much recently. I actually woke up this morning and forgot which country I was in myself. But I am definitely in Rwanda, in Kigali, and we are here to do an amazing project helping women who survived the genocide to rebuild their lives.
And for those of you who don't know, there was a horrific genocide in Rwanda. 800,000 people were killed in 100 days in 1994, and a lot of the killings were done, you know, neighbors killing neighbors. It wasn't some invading military force that came in and wreaked havoc on the country. It was just this horrific uprising from within, and so Giles came to Rwanda 4 months ago because he was working on a story on genocide survivors, and on that trip he met a woman named Olive. And do you want to tell? Would you like to tell Olive's story?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that's important to remember as well is many of the victims of the genocide, the ones sexual abuse and went through some terrible experiences. And there's also a generation of children who are just growing up now, who are in their 20s, who again whole families. So the country was really devastated in that genocide. So when I was here a few months ago, I was meeting a lot of these survivors and hearing these incredibly moving, upsetting, traumatizing testimonies. Among those testimonies, I heard one of the most remarkable stories I've ever heard of this woman called Olive. Now, I'll tell you a story very briefly. Olive was actually giving birth to her third child. She was in a hospital when the genocide started. It really erupted in the middle of the night. It was very sudden. It was the death of the president that caused this outburst of violence. So if you imagine, this should be the most joyous moment of Olive's life. She's in hospital giving birth to her third child, a son. Literally, as she is giving birth, her village is attacked. It's attacked by these militias that go in there. They kill her husband. They kill her two children. They kill her parents. They kill her grandparents. They kill her brothers and sisters. They kill every living family member that she has. And Olive gets this news as she's lying in hospital giving birth, which is beyond any possible thought. How would you deal with that situation? The situation gets worse when the militias then surround the hospital where she is. They're threatening to come in and kill Olive and the other women that are hiding there. Eventually, these militias storm into the hospital. They start taking Olive and the other women away. Olive makes a decision to leave her child in the hospital in the hope that it might survive. She's taken to a market. In the market, there's 1,200 people who again are slaughtered that day. Olive survives by literally underneath the bodies. The bodies land on top of her. She hides there for 3 days. So her story is an amazing story of survival and loss. But really where the story, for me, gets remarkable is what happened afterwards. After the genocide, she returned to her village because she wanted to bury her family. This was several months after the genocide. But when she gets there, nobody knows where the bodies were taken. Nobody knows what happened to her family's bodies. But what she does find, and this is what I love about Olive, Olive finds 6 babies that survived. And when she decides the best thing she can do is adopt them. So this woman who has lost everything, she chooses to adopt these 6 babies, the survivors of the genocide, and she brings them up as if they were her own. Now, that on its own is remarkable. But what made Olive's story stand out to me, and why I wanted her to be the basis of this project, is what happened when she returned back to her village many years later. Many of the killers, many of the people involved in the genocide had been released from jail. Also, there was an amnesty. So she's living in a community where she sees every day the people that killed her family. When she walks to the market, when she goes to the shops, when she's out in her garden, she sees the perpetrators of these crimes. Now, how would any of us react? I think most of us would have anger, would have want retribution. Not Olive. Olive decided the only way this community could move forward is if she forgave everybody. So that's what she did. She went and she found each person one by one and forgave them. She did to their family. Now, I don't think I would have that strength in me. I don't think many of us would have that amazing strength. But then what happened is that those perpetrators, the people that killed the family, they started to go to her house, started to help her rebuild it. They helped in the gardens. And then one night, this is 10 years after the genocide, one night, there's a knock on her door, and it's one of the killers of her family. And he said, "I'm here to show you where we buried your family." And they took her that night to a mass grave where 350 bodies were buried. The government came, they resumed the bodies. And in Olive's own words, she goes, that's when the whole community was able to finally put their loved ones to rest. And she believes it was only possible because of her forgiveness. So really that's why Olive's story moved me so much. Not the horror, not the terrible things. It's the fact that this woman, this incredible woman, not only adopted 6 children to bring up as her own, but she chose to forgive the people that killed her family so that the community could rebuild itself.
So remarkable. And and when you approached her a couple of days ago, yes, and let her know that we were going to be trying to start. We sort of haven't told her exactly what we're doing, but you know, you let her know that we were going to try to help her. Yeah. She is joined into a small collective of about 25 women in a farming collective, correct? And you let her know that
so
we were going to try to help her collective, and what was her response?
Well, again, just to explain a little bit about the collective. When I visited her the first time, you know, I often ask the people I meet, is there anything I can do for you? Is there any way I can help you? Olive didn't ask me for any material help. She simply said, make sure my story is heard. So this never happens again. That was her only wish. But I did find out that she had this small collective of other women who had survived the genocide, who grow potatoes in a very tiny little field because they want to be self-sufficient. They want to stand up on their own. So after going away and thinking about it, I thought, well, the best approach would be if we could find a way to expand this project, to give them a bit more land. 25 women in this collective. So I went back and I saw Olive, and as I said, I didn't want to give away anything. I didn't say exactly what we were doing. I just said, look, if I was able to help you, if there was a way, you know, what's best for you? Could we help the 25 women to set up a farm? She looked at me and she didn't look very happy. And I thought, that's strange. I thought she'd be really excited. And after a little while, she said to me, she goes, she said there's 4 different cooperatives in the area. And she said, I'll only do it if we can help all 4. So that's 100 women. And I said, well, we may not be able to help as much. And her words were, I would rather that we have less so that everybody has more. And that to me is the most beautiful sentiment of a woman that really has so little, that really has gone through unimaginable horrors. When presented with support, she said she'd rather that support to be shared.
Well, I can't thank you enough for identifying her and this community, and for all of the work that you've done to be here. But I also can't think of a more worthy recipient than Olive and her community of women. And I really think us Gishers are going to be up to the task of helping them. So our goal, if we can raise $100,000 and buy 3 hectares of land, is about 8 acres, is which will fund the farming capacity, all of the objectives, be able to really produce enough food and revenue from those potatoes to support their families. And that $100,000 will also buy them tools, and it will help them set up a market stand for them to sell produce.
Yeah. But there is one deal with this though, Misha.
What's the deal?
Well, this is a collective of 100 women, but they have said that they will make you a member of the collective.
Really?
But to become a member of the collective, they need to see your digging skills.
Oh, okay. I can dig. I'll dig.
So I need you digging to show them, and then maybe you can become a member of the collective.
I'll be an honorary member of the collective if I can prove that I can dig. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll be sending you a video.
There's your challenge.
I'll dig the shit out of my front yard. That's amazing. Well, is there anything else that we should share with folks here?
No, I mean, as I say, I in my work as a photographer get to see really the worst in humanity, sadly. This year I've been in northern Iraq, I've been in the front lines in Ukraine, in South Sudan. And sometimes you meet somebody that gives you faith again in people. And Olive gave me faith at a time when I was feeling pretty low, I must admit, where I'd seen a lot of fighting in Iraq and seen really the worst in humankind. Olive reminded me that at the heart of everything, people are good. And I thought if somebody like Olive, who has suffered so much, can forgive people, if somebody like Olive, who has nothing, can dream about building a future for her family, her adopted children, then I thought, what we need in humanity? And I hope that we can repay that gift by helping her and that community of amazing, inspiring, resilient women to have a future.
So it's so inspiring to hear a story like hers, and so heroic. Maybe one more thing, since we don't really get to see you that often and hear updates, maybe you could share with us updates on the last 2 GISH projects that we did with you, the Syrian refugee families in Lebanon.
Absolutely.
And the dance school in South Africa. Maybe you could let us know how those projects are coming.
More than happy to share. So the 2 main families that we helped in the initial project 2 years ago were Aya, the young girl.
Just interrupt for 1 second. I just want to let everybody know that maybe new Gishers aren't familiar. 2 years ago, Giles helped us find some Syrian refugee families that were living in Lebanon that were in incredibly dire circumstances and had been struggling there for a long time. There was a family where the 12-year-old daughter had tried to kill herself twice because she wanted to have enough food in the family for her younger siblings. And a mom who had been shot by a sniper and was paralyzed from the neck down, who hadn't gotten out of her tent for 2 years. And so we with Giles's help, identified these families and then raised almost $250,000, I think, to support them getting new housing and medical care and schooling for years to come. But yeah, now share. And the same last year, we did a similar project with a school that was going to be shut down in South Africa.
Yeah, so from the Syrian families that we helped, Aya, the young girl, and Khulud, have both now been relocated to Europe. So Khaloud is now living in Holland. Aya is now living in France, thanks to our support. Aya, the young girl with spina bifida, is going through education. And the girl you mentioned, Paula, who tried to commit suicide, she is studying in Lebanon with our support. We get her to school every day. And she's dreaming of going to university where she wants to become a teacher. So, you know, they're also having difficulties, but they all look to the future now. I remember that was one of the things with those families, is they saw no future. Now those children all dream of what they can be. So we've had a huge impact on their lives. And maybe during the week, I can share a few photographs of where they're doing now, and we can share that as an update.
That would be lovely.
And yeah, and likewise with dance school. You know, what's fantastic is actually this year, a few of the students that we supported last year are taking part in GISH this year. So they are now supported by the community to help that dance school. They are now paying that back and are full members of GISH and enjoying the whole experience this week.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. Deeply grateful for your partnership on this. And thank you to, yeah, it's really, I feel so lucky that we crossed paths with you and that we're able to do these incredible projects with you. It's one of the most gratifying things of my life. So thank you.
Well, you know, I spend the year, as I say, seeing these terrible situations, and I look forward every year knowing that we're going to do this change a life. And for me, that's the thing that keeps me going as well. This is the happiest week of my life, to be part of this and to be part of the amazing GISH community. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, let's do it, guys. Okay. All right. Now you have your task. Thank you, Giles.
And I'll be sending you updates during the week as well. So
great.
Look forward to that.
All
okay.
Right. All right.
Good day, my friend.
All right. Thank you.